My dear masters, we will be beginning our wisdom sharing session for today. So my dear masters, today's wisdom sharing session is from ego to bliss. Okay, masters. So I hope you can see this picture that I'm sharing with you. So from the bottom we will start, because today's discussion, the discussion of travel from ego to bliss happens in the three chakras mainly that we need to understand from bottom. So I'm sharing this picture so that you can understand. So in our body, I did mention that what are chakras? Chakras are energy portals between the Annamaya Kosha and the Pranamaya Kosha, or the physical body and the pranic body. So if both the bodies are next to each other, then you must be having question, how come the cosmic energy that we take through our pranic body gets transferred to our physical body? So if our two bodies are next to each other, there have to be some junctions from where this cosmic energy is transferring from pranic body to physical body. And these junctions where this energy transfer happens is called portal. And that's what I was talking, energy portals. And these energy portals are nothing but chakras. Okay, so it does not happen with one junction. There are junctions throughout our body. So if we start with the first chakra, the bottom one is root chakra, which in Sanskrit is called Mooladhara Chakra. So from this junction, whatever cosmic energy our physical body receives from Pranamaya Kosha, it helps to support the organs around that chakra in the physical body. Then we move on to the second chakra in English. So the first chakra that we saw is maroon in color here, so that you can understand the difference, which is our root chakra, Mooladhara Chakra. And the second chakra, which is reddish color, as you can see that, our Sacral Chakra. In Sanskrit, we call Swadisthana, and this is the Swadisthana Chakra, as you can see that. And slowly, if you people understand, we always talk chakras as lotus with petals, a lotus flower with petals, and they always mention that the Mooladhara Chakra is a 4-petal lotus. So you can see the root chakra is 4-petal lotus, and then as you keep going up, you know, just then the number of petals keep increasing. And then by the time you reach the crown chakra, which we're going to talk in a minute, okay, let's first finish all the chakras and then we'll come back. So the second one was Swadhisthana Chakra, the Sacral Chakra. The third one, today's discussion that we did mention, this is where your ego as well as bliss resides around this third chakra, which is, in English, it's called solar plexus chakra. In Sanskrit, this is called Manipuraka Chakra. So masters, we are just talking terminology in both the languages. And then when we go to the fourth chakra, all those people who attended my guided meditation towards the end, what did I mention? I said, bring your awareness to your Anahata Chakra, which is close to your heart. And this is what it is. This is called the heart chakra. And in Sanskrit, it's called Anahata Chakra. Then next, we go to the chakra that is blue in color, or light blue in color. It is called throat chakra, and in Sanskrit it's called Vishuddha Chakra. So it is somewhere near our throat, at the base of our throat. So then 5 chakras finished. Now we're going to the 6th chakra. 6th chakra, which is here shown as a triangle, is third eye chakra. Because why it's the third eye? It's between our eyebrows. Yeah, it's third eye chakra, and in Sanskrit it's called Agya Chakra, right? People who have third eye vision, normally it happens at this place, right? Between your, so all the third eyes visions with closed eyes are seen at that point with your closed eyes. Now, these are the six chakras that I mentioned. The 7th chakra, it's called as crown chakra in English, but in Sanskrit it's called Sahasrara. Sahasra means 1000. Why is it called Sahasrara? Because, like I was saying, all the petals, because when we started from Mooladhara, like it showed 4 petals, and as you keep going up, you're seeing the petals are increasing in the chakra. So by the time you reach crown or the Sahasrara Chakra, it is said that it's a 1000-petal lotus. Now, what is the significance of these petals? Petals is a significance that the way your knowledge, your self-knowledge is increasing exponentially from your root chakra to crown chakra. Sahasra means 1000. 1000 in other words in Sanskrit is representation of infinity. Infinity is often said in a colloquial term as Sahasram. So Sahasra, if anyone has said in our Vedas or in scriptures, that means it's infinite. Hence, this Sahasrara Chakra is like the ultimate chakra. By the time our knowledge about ourselves, when it awakens to Sahasrara Chakra, that means we have understood the infinity or the emptiness or the shunya or the void, whatever you can call. And that is the way this chakras are an explanation of our understanding and knowledge about ourselves and the Brahmanda, the universe around us. So this is, I shared this picture last time also in my workshop, because not that you people don't know, because I always say, my dear masters, there could be that one person who is new to this journey. They might want to know what we are talking about. So it's just not good enough if we understand and we move on. The least responsibility we have is take our fellow beings along with us on this journey. And if this can help them in any way, 5 more minutes is not going to be the end of the universe. Yes. So that was one of the reasons. I just didn't want to share the picture and get away. I've gone through this discussion. So my dear masters on this platform, now you might understand that the 3 chakras that I will be talking about today is the root chakra, the Mooladhara Chakra, the 2nd chakra, Sacral Chakra, which is Swadisthana Chakra, and the 3rd chakra, the solar plexus chakra, which is Manipuraka Chakra. So today's complete discussion will be about 1, 2, and 3, because the journey from ego to bliss all happens from this 1 to 3 chakras. Very important to understand. For today's purpose, you don't have to worry about all the upper 4 chakras, or normally the crown chakra is, they say chakra, but it's not a chakra. It is a state. By the time you cross the 6th chakra, you come to an understanding about what this creation, what this birth, death cycle, this humanity is all about, and it's an understanding. So it's called a state rather than a chakra. But people are more used to calling chakra. Doesn't matter. It's only a matter of terminology. It doesn't matter. But today's purpose of conversation, it will be all around the lower 3 chakras. Okay, my dear masters, that was the reason why I used this picture. So I'll stop sharing this picture. So give me a minute, and then we will continue our discussion. So for the sake of discussion, I'm sure that this topic will not finish today. So it will continue tomorrow as well, which is okay. We don't want to rush the topic. We want all of you to understand quite well. So remember, so we have got these 3 chakras, the root chakra, sacral chakra, and the solar plexus chakra that we will be talking about. Okay. So I am going to stop sharing this picture and we can get back into our discussion. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so so as we move on, now we have come back to our discussion on 3rd chakra, because what we mentioned was, does the 3rd chakra have both the ego and the bliss around it? That's what we talked about, didn't we? So let's understand what happens in these 3 chakras so that we can understand what happens at the 3rd chakra. So I did mention about ego. Ego is all part of mind. Ego is a mind game. We all know that, isn't it? The lower 3 chakras that I mentioned, all the lower 3 chakras, they are to do with more or less our mind. The mind, it does not exist inside the chakras. The mind exists around the chakras. So these portals that I have been talking about, the first chakra, the second chakra, and the third chakra, the thinking mind that we have got, that is the one that plays around this chakra. So what do you mean around the chakra? So if there is any problem that's caused by mind, it's not going to pollute your chakras or your junctions or your portals as such, but it's going to pollute the environment of the psyche around the chakras. To give a great example, you know the lotus that grows in a muddy water? When the lotus comes out of the muddy water, does the lotus look muddy? No, it is only the water around the lotus that is mucky. That's exactly, you have to picturize the discussion, what we are doing. So let's talk about what is around the first chakra. So I said the 3 chakras are surrounded by the psyche of our mind, and let's understand what is around each of these 3 chakras. So when we take the first chakra, which is the bottom chakra, the root chakra, the Mooladhara chakra, around this, the mind that is around it, it is more to do with the earth element. So we will be talking about what kind of thoughts and feelings will go there. The second chakra, which is your Swadisthana Chakra, it is more to do with your emotions. It's the emotional mind that's around it. The third chakra is your thinking mind. The moment your thinking mind comes, so let's go back again, my dear friends. The first chakra that we are talking about is all about your primal fears, you know, survival fears. The root chakra is always to do with survival. Your mind that thinks always about your survival. You know, if you're fearful of something, if you feel that your life is lacking something, the fear and lack kind of thoughts are always around the root chakra. So this is your basic survival instincts. The second chakra is surrounded by your emotions. Whatever emotions you go through in your life, whether good or bad, I'm not saying, that directly reflects the environment around your second chakra. By the time you come back to your third chakra, which is your Manipuraka chakra, this is the ultimate, this is the culmination of your thinking mind. So if your mind is thinking, then the peak of this is around it, and the peak of anyone's mind is their ego. So the ego is that is manifesting as the mind around this third chakra. So if you can empty your mind around these 3 chakras, so the emptying of mind around this lower 3 chakras. So what are the 3 things that we talked about? How can we empty the mind around these 3 chakras? Is first, we have to get over our fear, you know, basic primal fear and fear that we lack things, we don't have abundance, these kind of primary feelings. If we can get over that, then you have cleared your psychic mind around the first chakra. Number 2, when you come to the second chakra, you're talking about emotions. People are hurting you, you're feeling hurt. If you can clear that kind, do not be subjected to how people are provoking your emotions, then you are clearing your second chakra. The third chakra, which is your ego mind, and we talked about ego mind combating, you know, just be aware, it goes away. So if you can clear the mind psyche around these 3 chakras, then with the dissolution of this ego, you will see there is a U-turn which leads to major enlightenment. So what we are saying is, as the mind dissolves from the center of one's being, one experiences a radical emptying of all thoughts. It's not only thoughts, your beliefs. So emptying your thoughts and beliefs as well. Why did I say beliefs? Because if you remember, ego is all conditioned by the past. And what is past? What you get from past is beliefs. So if you can free your mind of thoughts and beliefs, that's all it needs. That's all it needs to awaken to your bliss. So it is easiest to surrender to this bliss from the third chakra when you can dissolve your ego. So the basic thing is, my dear masters, if there is ego, you won't see bliss. But the moment you surrender, but the moment you dissolve this ego, you will see that the bliss that you're talking about has always been there. And when the ego dissolves, the moment you get over your thinking mind, your beliefs, your ego is gone, you straight away start receiving guidance from the higher self. See, many people in the meditation, they sit and they get intuition, they get thoughts from their higher self, they get information. How do you think that is happening? For that minute, they have surrendered to their thinking mind. No thoughts, no beliefs. Ego dissolves. And from that place, they haven't moved anywhere. From the same place around the third chakra of Manipuraka, you have transformed your life from living on a platform of ego to bliss. So that what is it? If bliss has always been there, then why is it so difficult? You know, it is like a fish that is swimming in water. It is searching for the water that it's living in. So what does that mean? That means the fish doesn't know that it lives in the water, but it's looking for water. That is how it is. We are surrounded by bliss, but we cannot see the bliss. That is how it is. That's why I've given the example of fish living in the water, but it's searching for the water. That means it doesn't know that it is living in the water. Why it doesn't know? Because its understanding is the fish's belief is water is somewhere else. That is the problem. It cannot see. The day the belief of the fish dissolves, then it can see the water. Similarly, we are surrounded by bliss at the third chakra, where it is also I'm mentioning at the third chakra, Manipura chakra. But the reason that we are not able to see that is because we are operating from ego mind, where we are operating from mind. And that mind is our ego mind, and that makes us again and again believe that bliss is far away. But the moment we come out of the ego grip, we realize that we don't have to go anywhere. That's why I said there is no beginning or end to bliss. Why? Because it's always there. Something that's always there will not have a beginning. So once the question is, the moment you realize and you dissolve your mind and dissolve your ego by, getting rid of your thoughts, your beliefs, even for a temporary timing, the question is, does your suffering come to an end after this enlightenment? People always have this question. How many people have asked this question to me, that once you are enlightened, that means all your suffering comes to an end? And here the question is, once you have come out of ego and you have lived in that bliss, does that mean all your suffering come to an end? So let me answer this question. Answer is yes and no, both. First of all, why yes and why no? Because there are two things. There is a suffering, a physical suffering, and there is an understanding of suffering. So we need to understand what is our understanding about suffering. What kind of suffering are we saying that you want it to end? So if you can take a child, for example, a child doesn't have any thoughts or egos or anything. What will happen? If there is something wrong somewhere, the child will have occasional tears of sadness, or someone has upset the child, moments of anger. But these sadness and moments of anger, they dissolve as soon as they arise. So that is how things happen for someone who is enlightened or who has come out of ego and now living from place of bliss. That's exactly, he'll be living like a childlike life. He may have occasional tears of sadness or moments of anger, but they will dissolve as soon as they arise. One may still experience physical pain. So many people ask this question, enlightened people don't have any physical problems then? They may still experience physical pain, but there is no psychological suffering anymore. Physical pain is there, but the psychological pain isn't there. Isn't that great, my dear masters? Why is it great? Because most of the time, our pain is more than what it should be. Why? Because the physical pain comes and goes in 5-10 minutes. After that, there is no physical pain. But what happens is we keep on thinking about it more and more and more, and we keep on making stories. So what happens? The psychological suffering stays for months, stays for years, stays with us for decades, even after the physical pain and the reason for physical pain is gone, isn't it? Someone pushed you from staircase. Simple example. In a school, someone is pushed from a staircase. He rolls down, he gets hurt. He gets hurt on his head. And people around him, they laugh. So he's physically hurt and he's mentally hurt also, because physically hurt because someone pushed him and he got hurt on the head. Mentally hurt because people laughed at him and somebody behaved rude with him because he has been pushed. Now what will happen? This bruise on his head will heal eventually, maybe in a day or in or two. But the psychological pain that the child will go whenever he remembers that scene, that how the people laughed, will replay the whole scene again and again. The whole movie making goes on their mind, and that is more painful. But for a person who is enlightened, they may experience physical pain now and then, but there will be no psychological suffering anymore for them. That is what's the difference of enlightened persons, like people living from the state of bliss. So the realization is so deep and profound for that people, that they are sometimes, when they are in those blissful moments, they don't want to come out of it, because it is a moment they want there to be there for some more time. So from that space of emptiness, when you are in that space of, you call it enlightenment or bliss, when you have come out of this mind thoughts and this beliefs, so you're in that state of void or gap or emptiness, whatever you call. From there you can see the limit of the mind. For the first time you see what mind is like. You can only see mind when you come out of it. You can't be in the mind trapped and you can't see mind. How can you see? If you are there, how can you see it? Can you see your eye? Yeah, in a mirror you can see, but can someone see their eye? They can't see it. Similarly, when you are within there, in the emptiness, when you are in the mind, you cannot see what the game's mind is playing. But when you come out of it, even for a second, when you come out of your mind, from there, you can be aware of, how this games, this mind plays. So first time when you see that, it is a big revelation. And this is exactly, I would like to give the example of Eckhart Tolle. I don't know, a couple of weeks back, I did share this example. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, he explains his, his life before he came into this, his journey, transformation, whatever you call. He clearly expresses that he has a tendency, he has a depression. His childhood has not been great, and he has been going through depression, and he had suicidal tendency, and he had tried to commit suicide multiple times. And just before this transformation, his, the transformation that he has in his life, his spiritual journey, whatever you call, when he is going through this the depression, the chronic depression that he always feels to end his life, and the mind is constantly going through this thought, this life is waste, my life sucks, I'm no good, and I do not want to be around in this place. I don't like what is going on around. I don't like this life. This is what happens, when people are in depression. There's a constant chat that is going on. So for everyone it happens. I mean, anyone in ego will have this chat always going on, and we think we are that. But for depression people, the thoughts are all pulling them down, saying your life is no good, your world around you is horrible, and this is not worth living. So when he's having all these thoughts, all the time he was trapped in the thought. But that just one time, he asked the question, I can't handle myself, or I am not happy with myself. So while he was observing his mind, something happened to him. His consciousness stepped out of his mind. So the trap that he was in his mind, like I was explaining before, one is the thinker, one is the observer. Till that point of time, those two were one. And the moment the observer and the thinker separated, this observer said this, that I cannot bear myself. That is the dialogue that came out of Eckhart Tolle's mind. I cannot bear myself. And when he noticed, what am I saying? I cannot bear myself. That means I is different, myself is different. So who is that myself and who is that I? And this is what it is. So when you operate from the space of emptiness, you are I. I is that observer that doesn't have any form, any identity, and that I always operates from emptiness. That I, when is watching myself, and what is this myself? This big identity of thoughts that you have created for yourself. Saroja Gullapalli, I'm so and so, I've got this many friends, I've got this many, this, all this drama, this thought pattern of Saroja Gullapalli that you have created is that thinker. So for Eckhart Tolle, when he realized that there were two parts of himself, one was that thinker, myself, who was never happy with himself, his world, and then there was this I who was silently observing this myself. And my dear friends, when that awareness came to Eckhart Tolle, that there is I and then myself, and the first question he asked was, who is the true I then? Is this I true or this myself is true? See, everything starts with a question, my dear masters. If you don't question, nothing will happen. When you question, you go a bit deeper. And that's what Eckhart Tolle did. When he had this question about, I am not happy with myself, he realized what was he saying. Then there has to be two. There has to be I and there has to be a myself. Then which one is true? I is true or myself is true? And the moment this thought came, he was in his complete awareness. What happens in complete awareness? Ego cannot last. So the myself vanished. The myself crumbled in front of his eye and dropped to the ground. The moment myself crumbled to the ground, all these thoughts and forms that this myself was creating, gone. And all that was remaining was I. And who was this I? This was not the name of Eckhart Tolle, not the one who was depressed all the time, not something who was trying to kill himself. This I was the silent observer. And that is when he felt the presence of consciousness first time, felt the presence. That means consciousness was always there, but he realized it. And the more he realized that he kept going into the void. It was like a whirlpool, and he let him go. And the next morning when he got up, this happened in the early hours, because that's when he used to feel like, end his life. Early mornings, he would get up from the sleep, middle of the night. And amazing story of Eckhart Tolle, everyone should read. A person who has come out of that, and for him the whole world has transformed. Anyone who comes to counseling to me, who is going through problem, I ask them to read Eckhart's life. What an amazing, amazing revelation and transformation. And then next morning when he gets up, and when he was this is like 3 or 2 a.m. in the morning, this transformation happened. And then everything was being drawn into that void for him, because such a big revelation that all these days he was thinking he was the thinker. But now he realized that he's not the thinker. Thinker smashed, and the silent observer with no name, no identity, no past, nothing, no drama, was silently watching and was silently being aware of what was around. And as he was being sucked into the whirlpool, then he had no idea what happened to the time. Time stopped for him. When you operate from the stage of consciousness, time and space will come to a still. I don't want to go to time and space topic because we did it a couple of weeks back, amazing topic. But when you operate from that space, my dear masters, that's an amazing space to operate from, going beyond time and space. And that's what happened for Eckhart Tolle. And when he kept being drawn into that void, he did not resist. So what did he do? He surrendered, my dear masters. He surrendered to that beautiful void. And after he woke up the next morning, and there was this beautiful bird that was singing on the windowsill. He didn't know what it was, because he was always so trapped in his mind. He never had the awareness to even feel what was going on around him. He was always in his sad story mode. And first time he heard this beautiful twitter of a bird, and he thought, oh my God, I don't know what it is, but it feels like a diamond. It's a diamond making the noise, because he couldn't think of anything better than diamond. And then he got up and he drew the curtains and he looked outside. And for the first time, he really paid attention what he looked outside. The garden, the birds, the sun, everything looked different. Because from the space trapped in mind, the mind won't let you see the things the way they are. I always tell you how ego mind works. It won't let you see the things they are. It won't let you work from awareness. It won't let you be in the present. So when Eckhart Tolle came out of it and he saw this, and then that day he says when he went for a walk, he felt like he was walking in a new world and everything had changed for him. So, masters, I had to bring Eckhart Tolle's story here, because it is very important to understand that when you start operating from the space of emptiness, you see the limit of the mind for the first time. And when you see that limit of the mind, in that light of awareness, the mind crumbles and you get out of the trap of the mind. And one feels great wonderment. You'll be wondering how a single thought, then when you are operating from that emptiness, what's the beauty? You can observe your mind and you can see, how the mind, the thought will arise and then thought will crumble and go into that mind ocean. There's a void there and a single thought will arise, then disappear back. Then another one will arise. You know how? Like in ocean, you have waves. Waves come out, go back into the ocean. Everything is water. Will you say the wave is different from ocean? No. Though for a naked eye, you may see a wave raising up. You may say that is wave, but that is part of the ocean. It has to go back. Similarly, though we give name, mind, thought, they're all part of this void, part of the consciousness. They rise from the void as thoughts, and then they go back and merge into that void. But you can't realize that being in the mind. For that, you have to come out of the mind. To observe mind, you have to come out of mind. And as I said, my dear masters, in my last session, when you can watch those thoughts coming up one after another and crumbling back into that ocean of voidness, you will see the bliss in space between thoughts. And that is the gap. The whole bliss arises in the whole bliss rests in that gap between the thoughts. And when you are operating from this space of emptiness and watching your thoughts, what happens? These gaps become longer and longer, longer and longer. That is the beauty. First, the gaps are looking very small, but then the gaps will slowly increase when you start observing your thoughts. And over time, the space will become longer and longer. And every thought, every idea, everything that you think about yourself, even the sense of your identity, that I'm so and so, is now you can see it as an illusion, because the mind is emptied of itself. So, and as the mind gets emptied, when we are coming back to these three chakras start opening up more with the clearing of the mind around these chakras. These chakras start opening up as the sense of identity gets dissolved more and more and more. So people who have attained enlightenment, even now or in the past, they don't experience a sense of identity. I'm so and so, that separates me from them. They will not feel that. They may have a name, but that's not going to make them different. So that is the feeling when this cycle of mind clears around these 3 chakras. Then when the 3 chakras open and get aligned, what will happen? We will talk about it tomorrow, my dear friends. So this description that I was giving you about these 3 chakras and how the mind operates is just to give you a preview of how it feels when you are operating from inside the mind and from outside the mind. So this topic, what I'm covering today, ego to bliss, is a beautiful topic, and it's a great topic that we all should understand. And I didn't want to rush it and finish it off just because the session is going to finish. But my dear masters, tomorrow, same time. So for us, it's AEST, Melbourne time, 10 to 12, I will be there. And we will start with a couple of maybe 15 to 20 minutes meditation tomorrow, and straight away get into the topic, because I would like to nicely cover and finish this topic tomorrow. So with that, my dear friends, I am going to finish part 1 of Ego to Bliss topic today. And